We are live. What's going on, far, far away family? Welcome to the show. We have one hell of a show coming for you today because Max should be joining us here shortly. Here he goes.
How you doing,
What's
guys?
going on, Max? How are you doing today?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent.
We're just kind of going through the little intro to the show, and then we will get into talking to you more about Andor because we're all super excited to talk to you about Andor today. So let's go ahead on and get the intro, and then we will get to the thing. You got it? Who's pushing the button?
Somebody hit the button. This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
I have a bad feeling about this.
You are now if you only knew the power of gods.
Here it comes.
Let's go.
You are now tuned into my favorite radio. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello there.
Now, I want everybody in the chat. You got Clint, you got Star Wars team leader Lenny. Everybody in the chat. I want you guys to give a good warm welcome to Max coming on here. He joined us today. And for anybody that doesn't know who Max is, Max was one of the inmates in Andor. He also has a couple other things under his belt in his acting career. And we're going to try to get to a little bit of all of it. But the majority of the stuff is going to be Andor, because even in your parts, I went through and was watching the parts that you're in, and you just look like you was very angry to be there. Before we get to all that, we got like a little tradition here. We start off with like a Hothbreaker. It's kind of like an icebreaker. You can pun this to Empire Strikes Back, where we just kind of get our creative juices flowing, and just let you know we cuss on this show. We do everything flies. That's why we're called the Outrageous Star Wars Show. Everything goes on this show, so just have fun, and let's get to that Hothbreaker.
Right. Cool.
Well, dude, I really want to change the Hothbreaker because CJ comes on this morning immediately and confesses that he cried last night. So now I just want to hear the story of CJ being a bitch.
You know what? I will tell that after you give a Hothbreaker, because that ain't the Hothbreaker.
Oh, I was talking about this with some buddies, and I thought this would be funny. Which of the Star Wars characters do you think has the funniest losing their virginity story? I think it's Jar Jar Binks, because banished for being clumsy sounds an awful lot like he put his dick where he shouldn't. He fucked the king's daughter or something, got kicked out. That's the real Jar Jar story.
Well, it's good to be here, guys. Thanks for inviting me, by the way. It's a real pleasure.
Oh, you are welcome. Hey, it was good. Hey,
thank you for responding.
Yeah.
Welcome.
We had a couple of your the other actors on the show, and we just been having a hell of a time. One person's had a family member pass away, and then another person, we got the times messed up, and that's one of the biggest things, is because a lot of the actors is from over in the UK, so trying to get the times right. It's been just one of those tasks. It's so hard to get the times right and get everything figured out. They're like when we first discussed you coming on a Wednesday, and then I was like, let me make sure I get the time right. And then when I told you, I was like, hey, dude, it's gonna be like 1 o'clock in the morning your time.
Yeah,
it's gonna be late.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So it was.
Yeah. And then, like even today, I think we said 4:30, but it's actually 5:30. So it's it's crazy.
It's so hard, and I have an app on my phone that kind of like gives me the breakdown. But then we had a time change, because over here in America we got daylight savings time, which is just weird. Nobody else has it except for like half of the country has this daylight savings time crap. And then when we switch, it switches everything up, and then it just discombobulates everything, just gets everything so confusing.
Exactly. We should just use sundials like the old days, right?
Oh yeah, that's.
I agree.
Just go.
Do it.
Just
It'd be
digress back to where we
Yeah.
started.
Good old days.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot better. Oh, before we get too far, I want to. Hey, I seen on your Twitter that the what is it? Apocalypse. That you're a fan of the what's it? Wow, man, my brain ain't working now.
Yeah.
The Driest Period, the Apocalypse show. I seen that you have posted something about that on your Twitter. The
Was
new
that me?
Netflix trilogy had the two guys from Ronald,
Graham
what's his face?
Hancock.
They were on Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Yeah.
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 And I had just listened to that episode like right before I seen it on your Twitter, and I was like, "Oh man, I want to watch that." He's promoting it. Oh, I gotta go watch it. I gotta see it. This seems like it's very interesting.
Yeah, I've got to watch that too. I just caught Joe Rogan last night with who was it? Graham Hancock and who's the other guy?
Ronald, what's his name?
I don't know.
Ronald something.
Oh wow!
I
I
don't
feel
know. I
bad
didn't
now. I
see
can
it.
It happens.
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Some
oh man, he's
fascinating
a
stuff.
fan. Hey, that's a great theory about. So I guess in the theory it's like 12,800 years ago and 11,600 years ago we went through like a giant ice age, and they're trying to actually, they really believe that like before that, and this is their theory, in which I completely agree with it, because some of the temples and stuff that are built around the country, that like there was an ice age that kind of like wiped out like the civilization of humans that were like way smarter than we, like they're probably like as smart or smarter than we are right now. And we are like the ancestries of the hunter-gatherers that survived it. So
Is this what was on the podcast?
Yeah, it was on the Joe. Well, they got a whole Netflix
gotcha.
series, an 8-part Netflix series. That finally, because like their evidence is so compelling, and like the rest of the science academic has kind of been blowing them off, and now they're like, hey, wait a minute, we got evidence. I mean, there's just too much evidence that people are way older than what you guys are saying they are. And just listening to them on Joe Rogan was kind of like it captivated me. Like, oh, I gotta watch this series. And then I was on his
Kyle's
Twitter
drugs
last
make him
night.
so high. He's just like in it for anything.
I was like, but then I was on Max's Twitter, because I was looking to, because whenever I'm thinking about creating a thumbnail, I'm trying to create the best and most compelling thumbnail that's at the same time honest and everything. So I'm trying to look for pictures of him, and I'm on his Twitter, and I'm like, oh man, he likes it too. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta talk to him about this, because this
I'll have
is
to watch
awesome.
the episode. I'll have to watch the episode.
Yeah, it's like an 8-part Netflix series, and it's like the first time that anybody with this theory has got any type of exposure, like real exposure on like a major platform. So I was like, dude, this is cool. And to me, all
I think the only reason why they got it on Netflix, don't get me wrong, is it's a great theory and all, but I think the only reason why is because Netflix has got so boring, they got to go out and find something that's appealing to everybody, and that's something that's appealing, because Disney, HBO Max, Peacock, all these are coming through the works and just running the streaming service, and Netflix is so left behind. They got to go out and be like, hey, Rogan, you got something?
Well, this is the thing. Dude, with Andor right now, ain't nothing competing. I don't think there's anything on TV that's competing with Andor.
Yellowstone starts tomorrow. There might be a little bit of a rift.
I was about to say that. I was like, no, yeah, Andor's great. And then I was like, well, Yellowstone's pretty great.
And that's the thing. You got Yellowstone starts, season 5 starts tomorrow, and then in December, the 1923 with Harrison Ford starts in December.
Dude, why is Harrison Ford still acting? That dude's $1 million.
Because they offered him good money, and he gets to play a role with Meryl Streep.
I can't wait to see Indiana Jones, which we're gonna be talking about a little bit about that, because there's some Andor kickback in Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jew? What is that?
They were actually filming Indiana Jones 5 at the same time as Andor at Pinewood Studios.
No way.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, they had a bit of a break, and Ant-Man, the new Ant-Man as well, at the same time.
I didn't even know there was another Ant-Man coming out.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Dude, there's so much good stuff. Like, it's like a great time right now just to be the fan of like Lucasfilms and just TV in general, because there's just so much stuff coming out. It's like overwhelming on how much good content is coming out. Like, it's a great
That's
time
true.
to live. And we have somebody that actually was there on the show. And I got some
It
questions.
was amazing.
I got
Go
some
for it.
questions for you
Yeah.
because
Uh-huh.
there's some stuff that I really want to know about working on Andor because it's so much different than the Star Wars that we're used to. But at the same
Right.
time, it's so compelling. It just, the content is, and Tony Gilroy, their directing team is just awesome. Like, I'm a filmmaker myself. You know, I've done some short films and I've studied film for a long time, and just their transitions and everything are just so flawless. Like, dude, man, this guy is great, and he uses so much of the older techniques that kind of a lot of people are getting away from, and it's the nostalgic is just awesome, just the way that he's doing it. So how was it? How was it working with Tony? And you know, because I know he kind of pushed for the we don't want to be a fan service, you know, to Star Wars. We want to do things that is a little bit different. We want to kind of make it Star Wars, but not just so Star Wars that's been like, you know, like Kenobi or Book of Boba Fett or some of the other Star Wars things that's came out. And so far, he's doing an excellent job at doing it. So how was it to work with Tony?
Well, Tony, I heard him over the tannoy speakers on the very last take, the last shot of the whole 6 weeks period for the end of episode 10. I heard him. I never met him on set. We had a few people on set all the time. Yeah, I think, and I don't want to mess this up, but one of the producers, a lady, was always there. Toby Haynes, of course. Toby Haynes was fantastic, the director, and a couple of the ADs. They were all fantastic, but I think what they created with the set pieces was so incredibly convincing that it didn't take much imagination. You know, that whole corridor that you see,
right?
And the way that, I mean, I get shivers just thinking about Andy Serkis, the way that he delivered his lines. He was so incredible that I tell you now, everybody just felt shivers when he did what he does. He's an amazing guy as well. So I honestly can tell you that with the set pieces designed so well, when we walked into that factory room, it was absolutely stunning. I couldn't believe it. Everybody was wowed by that. So my hat off to them. And I think there is something really special about, especially now, the way that everything goes to green screen. You know, it's special to do it properly like this. There's very little need for that green screen stuff. So I really respect those guys that built those sets, and Toby Haynes and everybody else, the crew were amazing. The main cast were incredible, extremely friendly, and I loved every second of it, even when we were sweating and dying inside that corridor, because this was the height of summer last year, right?
Uh-huh.
And it may be England, but we do get heat waves where people, you know, it gets really hot, dangerously hot still. And we were stuck in that corridor for probably the best part of 2 weeks, every day, long days, as you do in filming, 12, 14-hour days sometimes. And when they close those doors on both ends and you've got all those men, it's not pleasant after a little while. And
right.
So it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be in those conditions, but we got through it, and the results were amazing. Really good.
Yeah. I mean, the goosebumps definitely came through even for us on the other end. Like those sets, no kidding. Like there's a huge difference, I think, at least in the sets on Andor versus the sets on some of the other shows we've seen. It is so captivating, so real. Yeah, just automatically into it. It is spectacular.
And just like watching Andy Serkis is just his performance in general.
Yeah.
Like I love watching Diego Luna, but like watching Andy Serkis, like you've seen him in Planet of the Apes, you've seen him in Lord of the Rings, you've seen him in all these things, but to actually see him in a role,
we don't get to see him that much anymore. So
and just to see him and be that guy, was that exhilarating to watch? Was that like just something that you're like whoa?
Absolutely. In fact, it's a strange small world, right? Because I met a guy on Twitter who turns out to be Charlie Parrish. I'll say his name. He might watch this. It turns out after I was speaking with Charlie Parrish privately that he knows. We had this strange conversation where it turns out that he knows Charlie Parrish. Charlie Parrish knew Andy Serkis back in his beginnings of being a director and working in the film industry. And when I first met Andy on set, what struck me is how likable the guy is. He came over, introduced himself. He's very friendly. He's a really down-to-earth guy. You can tell he's got a big heart. And I didn't immediately know who he was. It was other people that said to me, "Oh my God, that's Andy Serkis." I was like, "Who's Andy Serkis?" And it was only later I went back to him after this conversation with Charlie to speak to him. And all of a sudden, I just felt in absolute awe of the man because he's so professional as well in what he does. And he has a great reputation in the industry for being such a professional, consummate. I mean, this guy, he pump out those press ups, get his voice ready. He's so focused. He's so incredibly focused. And that, to me, that was such a special moment to work with alongside him and with him. So yeah, we did a lot of work, and as well as the stunt team. I've got to say the stunt team were great. The stunt team were fantastic. And there were a lot of injuries because I put in a lot of effort with some things that never made the final takes. Pulled a muscle.
Well, yeah, because in the final take, it's kind of hard to tell which ones are the stunts being like which times the stunt characters are in, I guess.
Yeah.
So on which parts that we saw was it stunt characters, I guess. Sorry, that was a terrible way to ask the question.
No, it's cool. So that final shot that we did, without giving too much detail, we did an afternoon where the stunt team really genuinely do really dangerous things and
crazy stuff.
Yeah, like jumping off this high ledge down. And what got me is they still use cardboard boxes, right? Like they were cardboard boxes. Yeah, no, it's like
they don't use the crash pad, the big old air up crash pad. They use boxes.
They had crash pads, but they also had cardboard boxes down there, and that really freaked me out because it was quite a drop, and these guys went off the edge, and I've got to say this, I almost got a man crush on Diego Luna's stunt double. The guy was incredible. There was a slow down moment where time just slowed down because there were a couple of us behind. Let's say I think there were maybe 3 to 6 maximum stunt doubles for Andy Serkis and Diego Luna, a couple of other guys in front of us, and we had to move forward to this ledge that, again, it was really quite high up. And so the moment that Diego gets, or Cassian Andor gets pushed off by the passing prisoners. Yeah. So he goes off the edge with this laser gun in his hand, and that moment was so awesome. It was so cool. I thought that guy is a dude, man. That's a real dude. It's awesome. So we retook that a few times because they didn't just go off the edge once or twice. It was a few times. And so you got the big camera panning around here. You had a static one. We had these fans that were almost the size of a house, just blowing the wind and the lights in our faces as we got to the end of that corridor to escape. Now, I've watched that final bit back, and I'm amazed. To me, it blows my mind just how incredibly good they've somehow managed to merge these things together. Yeah. Because we took in another set where we're running to the edge. That was really hard work. I mean, they brought in about, I think 100, maybe 80, 90, 100 guys to run down that corridor. In the last 2 or 3 days, just to build up the numbers. And like I say, it's running up and down that corridor as quick as you can, shouting one way out over and over and over again in the middle of summertime.
Jumping off.
Yeah. So I just cannot get over how much fun it was. Really incredible, really good stuff.
One of the fans just asked, did they ever tell you guys what you guys were building, what them things were that you were building on the table?
Oh, that's a great question. We don't know what they are.
They did. I don't know is this allowed.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't think it's allowed, don't say it because I don't.
We don't want to get you
Hey,
in
we
any
don't want you to
trouble.
get in trouble.
No, I don't know. I mean,
Because I don't think they haven't said it on the show yet, so you might not want to say it.
yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure Diego is probably going to say it in a line or two in this next episode. Like I'm so
Right.
glad I'm not making blah 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 anymore.
Right. Yeah. Well, I did ask. I'll put it this way: I did ask because, of course, why would you not ask? And
Right.
again, this is something else with the set. Incredible. The FX department, absolutely, and the props department, amazing.
Crazy good. Yeah.
So these pieces were actually coming up out of the table, and we had all the obviously they weren't real laser guns, right? It's a shame, but they weren't real laser. But we actually spent weeks doing this all day, every day. So by the end of it, if it looks like people are really into the work, it's because we really were focused. By the time we got to the end of a couple of weeks of doing this all day, every day, we were working so smoothly, so fast that we could have built the Death Star in a month. But I did ask, and they did tell me, a couple of people told me, but I don't want to get in trouble. So
don't get in trouble.
We'll figure out soon.
We don't want you to get in trouble.
We'll come back to you after
They had
this.
to, like,
You know, hopefully, they bring you back on other projects because like I said, when you're walking down the hallway, and it's actually the picture that I use for the thumbnail of the episode, the look on your face is just like it looked like y'all was like, why the fuck are we here? You know what I'm saying? Like, Jesus, this is just terrible, and it just it gave us that nostalgia of like, dude, you really feel like we were there with you guys. Like, oh my God, that would suck so bad to be in this place, man. This place is terrible.
Yeah.
Who do you think was the most fun? All the different Andor actors. Who was the most fun to work with? Do you think?
Like I tell you that they were all great. Andy was incredibly friendly, and Brian Bovell as well. They all were. The most funniest guy, Joseph. I forget his character name. The guy that gets shot when we're going to escape.
Okay.
Ginger hair guy. He was always he was a real jokester. So whenever he's always messing around and joking. He was great. But I'd have to say Steve Morphew as well. Stephen Morphew, who he's somebody that should be known. His name should be known because of how many years that guy has worked for Hollywood movies, and yet he's a stand-in actor. So Stephen Morphew was on table 7, and he also is with the main cast as we break out. You see him a number of times. He's always with us. He was the most friendly guy. He was so down to earth, and he made you feel part of the team. So fantastic. I've gone out drinking with him in Leicester Square recently. Great guy. Anyway, Stephen Morphew, he's worked in the industry since 1993, and he's done 67 movies. He's been the stand-in for everyone from Ralph Fiennes to Robert De Niro to Cassian. He was Cassian Andor. He's Diego Luna's stand-in, right? So that guy, absolute incredible guy. Love him. So I'd say Brian Bovell, Andy Serkis, definitely. Diego Luna was so focused. I've got to say, he was so focused that you kind of just want to let him do his thing and not bother him.
Really? So he's almost like in his own thing.
He's
in his own
I don't
world.
know if he. Yeah. See, I don't know if he was going method. I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, do you think he was in method mode where he's trying to be the method actor? Kind of really get into that rebel spy mode like he was in Andor or in Rogue One.
Yeah. Well, he would come in to, when he's ready, he would come on set and he just came in and just did his thing. So he gave off an air like, I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone, So I didn't want to, try and interact too much with him. But, it was an incredible process, the process that they have, people like Andy and Diego, to watch them preparing for the shot, for the take, was fascinating in itself. Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Did you end up taking anything from set? Did you end up like keeping a momentum or anything? I'm sorry, I had to ask. I was like, like maybe the suit or maybe what are the wrenches? Like, just like put it in your pocket. Like this is gonna be cool later on.
No, but what I will say is that again, the props department, when that whole piece before it kicks off, and so when they brought the stunt guys in, it was for the escape part, jumping off the ledge, and just when it all kicks off, and Andy's, Kino's saying it's, like escape, it's now. That's when we had a couple of random stunt guys turn up. We're like, where did you come from? It's like, it's fine. I'm just going to get shot and it will be fine. So, but yeah.
I love how normal you made that sound. I'm just going to get shot. No big deal.
It's like,
I'm just here to get shot. It's fine.
Yeah. I love how seamlessly they merge it all in together. But, if I've gone through it, I'm like, oh, there's me hiding under the table. Oh, there's me running up to the table, because when Kino says on the tables, because we know they're going to fry the floor, and again that was a full, I think, a whole day of just getting to the table, and then the worst part was finding out that the guy whose face I was in, like right here, because he's already on table 6, came down with COVID the next morning, so we got sent home. My whole table. We missed about 5 days of filming at the end. So episode 10, I was really gutted because we made the escape, but there's a lot less of our table on that one because of that situation. We made it in for the last couple of days, which was great.
That sucks. That would be terrible. Like, I put in all this work and stupid COVID done ruined it. COVID done ruined so much crap.
Yeah, exactly.
What is something about yourself that fans may not know? Something that happened on the set that, we didn't get to see that you think would probably be like something that would be really good that, to let the fans of the series know?
Well, I think it's good that there's something that happened on set they don't get to see. And that's that I was in the shower scene and I didn't get to make it onto the screen. So it's probably a good thing.
That was just a crazy scene right there anyway, because they just made everybody just stand in this thing. It's like a mist coming down. Like, wait, this is how you got a shower? Like, dude, that sucks. Like, you just all standing there like, okay.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting because what I'm going to say, the Chris Fairbanks, sorry, he's another great guy. He's the old guy that dies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So one of my favorite movies of all time was The Fifth Element, with Bruce Willis and Jovovich. What's that first? Anyway, the one,
Chris
right?
Tucker,
Big bad apple.
Chris Tucker, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Tucker, yeah. And so Chris Fairbank, he's from The Fifth Element. He's the guy that, when they make her in the machine, and he stands there and says something like, she's perfect. He's that guy, right? He's been in a whole bunch of other things like Guardians of the Galaxy as well. Al Wiedersehen Pet on British TV, I think in the 90s, I think. So anyway, he's in front of me. So I'm stood right behind him. And as you can imagine, it's, again, you got all these guys wearing skin-colored, skin-tight underwear.
Right.
And it's a little bit uncomfortable. You're shoulder to shoulder with all these guys. I'm right behind Chris, and he starts talking as we're waiting for Diego to come in to roll. And Chris starts talking about being on the set of The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis. And at that moment, I was just, this is incredible. This is a guy from one of my favorite movies now talking about being on this. And then we rolled, but they cut that piece out. So if you look in the shower scene, I'm stood right behind Chris and they cut it, probably for a good thing, because I gained a lot of weight, over COVID lockdown. And that's something I want to say is I was really upset because over COVID lockdown, I'd gone from working out 6 days a week. I was always in good shape, and instead I'm at home and I'm beer and barbecue. I made that my lifestyle for too long. And I put on, so it was good. It was fun while it lasted, but I put on so much weight, gained all this weight, right? and then I get the call for the Andor thing.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh man, I can't not do it. And to make things worse, I don't like to be clean shaven, but they insisted that they were going to give me a haircut. And I thought, well, okay, it can't be too bad. And they did the worst thing. They gave me a side parting slick back thing and just clean. So I just put, I thought, wow.
They're like, you're trying to make me look bad, aren't you?
That was one of the things, because when I was
purposely trying to make me look miserable. I know.
When I was looking through I looked at your pictures, I looked at your IMDb and stuff, and I'm doing all my research like I usually do to make sure that, because I knew that I had seen you from somewhere else, and I'm a giant movie buff, so I watch so many movies, so it's so hard for me to keep up. But I'm looking at your pictures, and I'm like, dude, I don't remember seeing him in Andor, and then I'm going through, and I was like, oh, that's him. I said, wow, he was big. They made him gain weight for the episode. That's why I was thinking that they made you gain weight for the episode, because I know as a lot of times they'll have actors do that. Hey, we need you to put on 30 pounds, so you got to do this. So I was like,
well,
but it was kind of hard to find you in there, because I'm looking at your pictures on Instagram and Twitter and stuff, and I'm like, dude, I ain't seen him nowhere. I watched 8, 9, and 10, like, I don't know, 7 times. Like, dude, I can't find him. Where is he at? And then when you actually posted the pictures of the scenes, I was like, that's not him. That's not him right there, and that's not him. I'm like, well, and then I actually was on your Instagram, and I was looking at the thing, and I clicked on it, and then you actually have you tagged as the character and with the arrow pointing. I was like, that is him. I was like, oh my God, they really made him put on some weight for this.
Well, if we could,
it was Corona beer and barbecue. That's a better.
Although if we could, Kyle, edit out everything I just said from the live show, and I'll just say, yeah, I went full method, and I was.
He's dedicated.
Got to do it for the
So one of our fans, Lenny here, he's like, what was it like having the script? Did you know what the show was going to be like before everything else, or was it like, did you get a section and then a section and then a section? Like, I kind of was on the same mindset with Lenny here. Like, did they just tell you this is what's going to happen right now, and then we're going to move on from there, or did they let you have the whole script?
No, I didn't have any scripted words in this one, and so there was no script for us. The main cast had theirs, of course, but yeah, we were kept completely in the dark. So that's part of why it was so magical, I think, blown away with the sets, because as soon as you get in there and you don't know what to expect until you go in, and you're just wow. I mean, the corridor, right? The corridor with all of the cells in them.
Right.
It's so convincing. It
looks so real.
Exactly. There was a personal note. I mean, there was quite a few bits I would have liked to have seen, of course, ego speaking here. Because originally they tracked down the corridor with just on my face. And then there were bits at the end and certain sections. But of course, it's not about me, it's about Cassian, right? But yeah, no, we didn't get to see any script. I think that's kept under lock and key, so to speak, with the main cast.
Yeah, Star Wars. I think that's one of the things that, as just a Star Wars fan, that I've really came to appreciate, not knowing
how secret they keep everything.
Not knowing everything, because a lot of other movies you get into, some of the other franchises, there's so much leaked stuff, and they don't keep stuff hidden, and everything before it's going to even happen, and it kind of takes away from the fun. With Star Wars, they definitely do a good job of keeping a lot of stuff under wraps. So I think that's a great thing.
Exactly.
When you first got the call that you were that they were casting you to come on Andor, what was your first initial reaction to that? Like, how did it make you feel?
Well, the way it was pitched to me was, how do you feel about doing a shower scene? And I'm not kidding. I said, it's Disney. Did you say Disney and shower scene? A prison shower scene. So so my initial reaction was just one of shock for that reason alone. and I didn't
That's
know.
hilarious.
That's
Disney
amazing.
shower scene.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
a
didn't. I
shower
actually didn't
scene
know.
in prison for Disney? Are you sure
For
it's Disney?
Disney?
It's not another company? Did you get your stuff
Dude,
mixed
just
up?
the thoughts going through your head. Shower scene, great. For Disney?
Right.
For a prison?
And I still said yes.
The
So,
I don't know what I'm expecting, but okay.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it just like you were saying earlier, like just how good the background, the casting was for this, and then just seeing the how well it's been done. Like, cause honestly, and I'm pretty well. I can't really speak for every Star Wars fan, but I know the majority of the people that I've talked to. Andor wasn't like this big deal. Everybody was like, Andor, like, why are we doing an Andor series? And then they come out, and this thing is a worldwide phenomenon. It just it's doing so great. And when you go back and you see like the ratings of what this show has done, and knowing that you've been a part of that, how does that like make you feel as an actor to know that you were cast in this just worldwide phenomena that is Star Wars Andor? How do you when people come and they talk to you and then you're like, hey, you were in Andor, how does that make you feel?
It's just absolutely beautiful. I do feel incredibly lucky to have been a part of it. And the problem is that I want more. And it's not up to me. Because now, I mean, I've got a twin brother, right? And he made some low budget movies maybe 10, 15 years ago. And he was saying how the problem, and he's right. He said the problem is now, how do you top that? So I've now tasted the cream of the crop, right? Seeing how it's done on the best of the best. And so the problem is now anything less is going to feel a little painful. Yeah. I want more. I might start a petition to get me in on the next series.
Hey, we'll help out on that. Hey, we'll definitely.
We'll sign it. Let's go. Let's get him on the next Star Wars.
Thank you.
One of the listener, David. I think he's a new listener. David, thanks for joining the show.
Never seen his name.
How was the food on the set? Did you get any barbecue beer on the set?
Oh, wow, it was incredible. I haven't got a bad word to say about everything to do with this, but the food just by itself, the way they looked after us with the food, I did not eat the same thing twice in 6 weeks because you have so many. Yeah. See, I love to cook. I love to cook. I love food. I like to try new things. And so to me, that alone was heaven. So you get out, you've got all of these different selections. And I'm like, oh, I've never heard of that. I'll give that a go today. And then tomorrow there's something else I've never tried before, something else. And it's, breakfast, dinner, and tea. In fact, it's as if they're actively trying to make you gain weight on set because they're feeding you, help yourself to crisps, chocolate, breakfast, dinner, even pizzas. The last couple of days, they're ordering in as much pizza as everybody can eat.
Oh, jeez.
The food was amazing. But with regards to the prison, Narkina 5, they said about the bland foods in the storyline. Well, they gave us cold porridge, no sugar, just cold porridge.
Oh, damn.
We were actually like,
you actually had to eat it? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not nice.
That's kind of cool, though, that you guys actually did, though. I would have expected they gave you, something that actually, I don't know, tastes good. Just pretend it tastes bad or something. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, because you see Diego, I don't know if he actually did, if Diego did actually eat it, but there's a part where you do see him.
Uh-huh.
And I did wonder myself, did he really do that? Because it had been sat around for a while, so at best it's room temperature, just with water, not milk. So,
I mean, that's kind of cool that they really put you into the scene because you're like, oh God, we got to do good or this is gonna suck. We got to eat this, with no flavor. The way that's explained in the series to to Cassian, he's like, you know, you get flavor if you do good. So if not, it just sucks.
Yeah.
So
I never tasted the
David,
flavored version.
David says he's your guitar teacher.
Yeah, David Kumar. Dave Kumar. He's amazing.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
says he's like, I'm new here. I'm Max's guitar teacher.
I love it, Dave.
Heck yeah.
He is amazing.
Okay, at first I was like, is he just pulling my leg here?
Really cool.
Welcome to the show, David. Thank you for watching. First, I thought you were screwing with me. So,
what is like? Do you have a current role model in the industry? Somebody that you look to as another actor that you kind of look up to in your career?
Well, I would say again, Andy or Steve Morphew. To be the way that I've looked at it is that, you know, if you put everything you've got into it, and I'm aiming for next year to make as many big moves as possible, representation and so on. But failing that, someone like Steve Morphew has really inspired me, because that guy gets to enjoy the creative side of it, the work. He gets to live that, to do what he loves, to be there throughout all of these productions, and yet he doesn't have to put up with any of the fame stuff, right? There's no, you know, he's like a guy that's there throughout 67 movies, hanging out with all of the main cast and doing all of that stuff, but he doesn't have to put up with paparazzi or anything like that. So he really has inspired me, actually, to which has ended me up with James Corden as his stand-in on the new Amazon series called Mammals. So it's an interesting take on it I hadn't considered before. With regards to actors, again, Andy, I think what Andy did to us on set, I think he inspired a whole lot of us. You know, if you can deliver lines so powerfully that people get shivers, the tingles, that's magic, right? That really, really, really inspired me. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's one. When he does his speech at the end, I compared it to the president's speech in Independence Day. Like it just it was like nothing that it gave you like goosebumps everywhere. Like, oh my God, like. Yeah, well, I wanted to escape, and I wasn't even there. Like, I want to escape. Let's go. Let's do this. And I think that, like, that was very inspiring, I think, to everybody in the world. Anybody that says they wasn't inspired by that speech, you're lying to yourself, or you're just really not a Star Wars fan or a fan of acting in general, because that was phenomenal. It was one of the, like I said, the only other time that I've ever been moved like that during a speech was in Independence Day, when the president gives a speech right before they go to attack the aliens that we will not go into the night part. And it was like, we're going to get out. We're getting away. That was like that same type of feeling that it gave me. And I was just like, wow, that's some great acting, which was crazy, because before this, like, I was like you, like, I didn't really know who Andy was. Like, I've heard the name before, but I wasn't like, you know, so like a super fan. I didn't even know that he played that's who played Snoke. I didn't know that. I was just like some actor, you know. But then I found out, you know, through this that he played Schmeagol, he played Snoke, he's played, you know,
he played a bad guy in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, he's played
like
so many
Caesar.
different people, and it's like to hear him make that speech it was phenomenal. I think that was one of the key moments of one of my favorite moments in the whole series, just to hear that speech. Because
I can tell you again, Carl. Sorry to interrupt. That everybody gave each other that look when he delivered that speech. You know, not that, I don't think, not referring to the one at the end, but even the ones earlier on, maybe episode 9. I complimented him afterwards. We walked back through Pinewood, and I said to him, wow, I mean, you just inspired. I got so into when you were delivering your lines, Andy, that I almost wanted to go and some guards there and then, you know, give it. He goes, oh, thank you, you know. But it's just amazing. Yeah.
Just imagine being that inspired. You just punch a random actor.
Yeah.
This is what you get for playing a card.
Yeah. Amen.
Tell Andy says you're welcome.
Yeah. But the other thing is, because I don't think I answered your question, CJ, earlier enough, is with the props, right? The FX stuff. When we're launching those you said about tools, whether anybody got away with any tools, well, I'd hope not. But what we did find is that some were missing. So we had the props team had to come in and swap the real heavy stuff that we were really using for all those days of building the whatever it is, right? And they came in and swapped them out with the prosthetic prop versions. What do you call that now? So the lightweight stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff that you're like moving around.
Yeah, I mean, we literally had to throw those things up at the guards, and we gave those guards got so much flack from us the whole time, like the whole time we were filming in the factory room. Those guards, I'm surprised they didn't put in a claim for being bullied. Yeah, I mean, if we saw them even offset, we gave them so much trouble, you know. Like they were getting scared of us. But when it came to throwing the props at them, so everything got swapped out for the lightweight versions, and it was really convincing. But one or two, don't know how this happened. One or two people didn't. They actually threw the real thing. Yeah, you know, had to get like stop this. Obviously, Toby Haynes, what the F is going on here, and sorted that problem out. But somebody got hit on the head with something heavy. So yeah, I don't know how that happened, but they definitely.
I wonder if he used that shot though. Like, to be honest, I wonder if he's like, that was really good. That was really that was the real thing.
That was convincing.
Oh, it's still a good cut. We might as well send it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there were a couple of incidences. I mean, I know I pulled a muscle in my leg sprinting down the corridor after the stunt team, and did that several times. So, you know, you've been sat around for most of that day, and then all of a sudden,
sprint as fast as you can.
and I was like, okay. And I just kept going. And one of the stunt guys got hurt on that last takeoff of that drop. And then one of the guards got hit with something real. I don't know if he was one of the actors or whether he was one of the stuntmen, but definitely got hit on the head with something real.
Dang.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look back over just the history of TV, I mean, Brandon Lee, you know,
the director with that Alec Baldwin movie that recently just happened.
I think it would be so hard to be a props person, and you got to change all that stuff, because if something, you know, somebody gets hit with something, or somebody dies, or, you know, any of that stuff, it's like, dude, oh man, was that me? Did I miss something? I know that would have to be a terrible feeling to look at this stunt guy or this actor that you, did I forget to pick up to switch that out, and they got hit with a real one? I just know that would probably be one of the worst feelings ever, like that, to know that you might have been the person behind it. I bet you those props people are like, oh man, I hope that wasn't me.
And the crazy thing is, like, the people who watch the show, they have no idea. They have no idea what all you guys did in order for us to get what we're getting, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a strange situation to be able to watch it back and know, like, it gives you a strange flavor, right? Because I remember every second of everything we did, and to see it put together and try and see it from outside the box as if you've seen it for the first time.
Right.
I found that quite an interesting thing to try and do, because I want to keep pausing it and saying to my girlfriend and my little boy, hey, Daddy was there. That's the moment that I have to kind of shut up and just play it. Don't let me say anything. But I can see how they've pieced things together. And I find that fascinating, how well they've managed to, as you said, kind of seamlessly kind of piece it together, where I know that this bit came from the day before, or this bit was somewhere else, filmed at separate times, and amazing how they do that.
I feel like that makes it way more difficult as like an actor. I feel like if you're an actor and you're like filming everything in order, it's a little bit easier to like get into the story. But if everything's all out of whack, you have to be ready to act no matter what the situation at like a moment's notice. And like, all right, I guess we're doing this now. Like, I feel like that makes it way more difficult for the actors too.
Yeah, I think I can let you know what seems to be one of their secrets. Definitely a lot of yoga poses and push-ups and voice training, just like getting your voice ready. So like there was a moment where Diego went into some real strange upside down yoga pose, and like we're all waiting on set for a long time, sweating our balls off, right, in that corridor, and we're trying to get everybody starts getting rowdy, and you notice when you've got too many people there, and they turn the fans off, so now they're about to close the doors.
Hot.
Yeah, one person starts talking, somebody talks louder over the top, and before you know it, you've got all these guys are just creating all this noise. Anyway, Diego comes in real focused, and everybody's relieved, like finally we can get the fans back on and cool down again. But he comes in, and just when because he's just right in front of me, a couple of people in front of me, and just when I think yes, even the director's like, "You ready?" and he goes into a yoga pose. I'm like, whoa. You can almost see the whole set.
Pause real quick. Let me do downward dog.
There you go. Yeah, but you can see why he does it, because obviously he knows where we're at in the run of things, chronological order of the storyline, and the moment that camera's on him, the same with Andy, they're aware that they have to be pumped because the blood would be running, or these little tips were good to see. So little physical preparations ready for the shot because they know where they are in the scene. It was really interesting.
That's crazy. And that's
semi-annoying.
Yeah.
Like, stop with the yoga, man.
We're just standing here. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it's hot. We know that you see us. But I don't know, because when you're looking at it and you guys, and we see you guys standing there and it looks like everybody's just frustrated. Your guys, I think it brought a lot of the intensity into the scene, because we're looking at you guys and you're all standing there, and then you can tell that you guys are hot and it's just miserable here. And your guys, like I said, your face in some of those in some of the scenes is like, why am I here? Like, oh God, this is just terrible.
Bro,
and it just kind of, I think it worked out pretty good, because like I think Andor is one of the most believable Star Wars series that there is. It's very believable, like compared to like some of the other stuff. It's we know that it's fiction. We know that them prison scenes kind of was like, you could really believe that this was like really happening somewhere, and that makes it even 10 times better.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I had a question I was going to ask. Now I don't forgot. Hey, somebody else out. Somebody else talk. I don't know. I forgot what I was going to say.
But I get what you're saying, Kyle. Like, it definitely is a very real, I guess, gritty Star Wars. I guess when you got the call, did you know it was Star Wars, or you just knew Disney shower scene and that was it?
Yeah, it stayed Disney shower scenes for, I think, probably at least a day.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it was. That's what I mean. It was amazing. I mean, in movie production, you get a code name anyway to keep, because they really do keep it as secret as possible. Some sets you find that people can keep their phones, but it's rare. Everybody had their phones confiscated in the morning because of knowing how Star Wars is.
Right.
There are going to be people trying to get secret photos. In fact, I think there was somebody, because they'd shot the Highland scenes, episode 4, 5, 6, is it?
Oh, like before the heist. Yeah. So they filmed that up in Scotland, in the UK, and they filmed that. Beautiful, by the way.
Yeah,
it looks super cool.
I'm trying to remember now where this happened. Somebody had somebody on set had managed to take some pictures through, I forget the details, but somebody had leaked some pictures online, just 1 or 2 photos. And like, I wouldn't want to do anything like that. So, because you're just going to ruin it for people. And plus, it's just not worth it. Why do that? I agree with what they do.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a good way to ruin your career, especially against, Disney. I mean, Disney is so huge. Like, why would you want to do anything that would just jeopardize? I mean, they got so many different projects. I mean, it's just so phenomenal, all the different things that they're working on. And you could be brought back to, play a voice character in one of the animations, or, you could be brought in a Marvel, or just so many different things brought back for another Star Wars character. Why would you want to, because you're going to get blacklisted. I mean, they're just going to blacklist you, and then nobody's going to want to work with you. I don't think it would be worth it. In my personal opinion, I ain't saying nothing. Keep my mouth shut. I ain't taking no pictures. I ain't doing anything, because this is my stepping stone. I'm in a Disney production. I am in Star Wars.
I don't know. I would have 2 phones. I'd have my phone where I take photos with everybody, and then they can have that. And then I'd have my personal. Like, the phone has got no service. It's just for the photos, because I would want photos of, like, me with Diego Luna and me with Andy Serkis, or, like, me with, in the moment, it'd be like Ewan McGregor. Like, it would be cool to have, like, a dead phone that's just for photos that they can hold on to. That you know that they can. You literally hold on.
You're
Let me explain. Let me explain. It's just a dead phone you take photos with. They keep it on set up until the production and all the episodes are out, and then they mail it back to you. That way you can share your experience. That's what I'm trying to say, is like, you just have that dead phone that's for the camera quality only, and then you have your actual cell phone.
Well, you just reminded me. I'd almost forgotten about this until speaking here. Somebody did try to walk in with like Google glasses. Is that what it's called?
Those Ray-Ban smart glasses?
Yeah, with the 2 cameras, and got stopped. Luckily, he got stopped. I don't know.
They are not discreet. Those glasses are not very discreet. You can see the cameras. I've looked at them. They just you can. Their lenses are the size of like an Apple camera. Like, it's you're dumb for trying.
He managed to get himself caught there. But we did have some trouble from 1 or 2 of the final few days where they brought a load of people in. There was some trouble from 1 or 2 of the guys. Just one guy I remember specifically didn't want to take his watch off, so he was being really immature. He was only a young guy, but they brought them in just to do that part of the final running scene, the crowd. But they handled them really well. Again, the crew, the ADs, because it became so boisterous, so loud. 100 odd guys, running around, all excited to be there, and you're going to have 1 or 2 that they just had to be escorted off of the premises, because if you're going to kick off about something, we're not at school yet. This guy refused to take his watch off, and who knows, it could have had a camera capability. So he was promptly dismissed, and good. So I understand why it has to be kept strict, and it's it's better for everyone that way.
I mean, you got all these people that are like sweating their asses off, hot, can't turn on the fans, pulling muscles, getting hurt, all to make a great show, and then one guy ruins it with taking pictures and leaking it early. So, you can understand.
Exactly. And eating cold porridge.
The cold porridge.
What is one of the biggest misconceptions that you think that some of the fans have about acting on a series like this?
It's a good question. That I think the biggest one would be that it actually can, as pleasurable as it is, it can actually be really hard work.
I think that's what we've heard from every person we've interviewed with acting. They all talk about, dude, it's not as fun as it looks. Like, it's tough.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
That's right. I've worked when I was young. I've done a lot of physical manual jobs. I've done a lot of different stuff. I, when I was really young, I worked shoveling 12 hours a day shifts, worked 7 days a week doing different jobs. I can tell you that each type of work that you could ever do, whether it seems glamorous, maybe the acting stuff, or musician, or somebody that's a ground worker on a construction site, they all have their pros and cons. But let's put it this way: if you've had 2 hours sleep because you couldn't sleep much the night before, or maybe you've had a drink the night before, and you've got to get in bright and breezy for a 12, 14-hour shift on the set in the height of summer, you can't just say, "Oh, I don't feel good. I'm going to have to go and sit down and cool down." It's no. This is happening now, and you better be ready for it. And you've got to be on the ball all day and night, whatever it takes. So those long hours on your feet, and especially if you've got a lot. You saw Skarsgård. I can't even say his name right. Yeah. What an incredible, like with Andy, what an incredible chunk of writing he had to memorize, right? At the end of episode 10. Again, that blew me away, because you don't know if that guy hardly slept the night before. He's still got to get those lines out perfectly, deliver them. He's got to be on the ball no matter what. So it's not always just fun and games, although there's a lot of fun, and there are games, but it can be hard. Yeah.
If you, because I know that a lot of people, we get a lot of emails and stuff, and a lot of people ask, one of the questions that they want us to ask you guys, all the actors that we have on the show, is what would you recommend anybody that's thinking about getting into the field of acting? What is some of the things that some inspiration that you could give, or something that you could tell people that want to be actors, how to get into the field, or how to work through, getting into the industry?
Well, experience in front of the camera is got to be number one. So when I was young, I was at a place called Greenwich Young People's Theatre, GYPT, growing up. And I love drama myself. So getting in young is always of great benefit, right? And there's a reason for that. The younger, the better, but it doesn't have to be that way. Mm-hmm. But it gets you used to handling your nerves and overcoming that anxiety. And if you get to do that when you're young, then you eliminate that problem. Not completely eliminated, because you're under pressure. But if you can get used to getting in front of the camera, used to learning techniques to learn your lines, then that's always a good thing. I did a couple of theatre shows. I won an award as a kid from a TV actress once for a comedy thing I did myself when I was about 11. And then from there, like I say, for me, it was great because I was so young, but I remember being extremely nervous to go on stage in front of all these people. But I didn't have any kind of connotations I didn't let that get me down. I just went out and did it. So I'd say the biggest problem for a lot of people is going to be overcoming the nerves. If you can just overcome that and have creativity, enjoy doing what you do, then you're going to do well. I'd say sign up to agencies, do an acting diploma maybe, and create your own stuff. So I've got now, my little boy is 7 years old, and my youngest boy, and I've signed him up to, here in the UK, we have the Pauline Quirk Academy of Performing Arts, PQA. And what that does is, at 7 years old, he's going to get trained with Lambda tutors and actually have some experience at such a young age, so that later on, hopefully that helps him be more at ease in front of a camera. He's going to do a theatre show next year. To me, that's important because he's going to get over those. He gets into it young. That's a good thing. Right. So my other thing would be to say, if you can't have much luck, because it does come down to a bit of luck as well, of course. I mean, for me, it was just pot luck with Star Wars. And so you can always create your own stuff, that's something to consider. Is if you can create your own low budget movie or something, you could go all the way to the top just like that. You know?
Yeah, we see
or
that
standard,
a lot
sorry.
nowadays. We see that a lot nowadays. You know, a lot of people from that are putting out YouTube short films and stuff like that are getting major productions, and they're not only just a lot of stuff that's being done on YouTube and Vimeo and the different video platforms. Some of them are getting picked up. It's something I just learned that, like, the Saw series was actually a short film that was done, and they ended up with they got like 20 of them now. I don't even know how many. They got a lot. But they got their whole starting just off of making a YouTube short about the same concept, and it got picked up by a major production company and was created. Now they got, like I said, I don't even know how many they have now at this point. A lot. Let's see. I had a question here. What is one thing that you think that you learned on being on the set of Andor that you didn't know before as being an actor?
Yeah, I'd say
them hard ones.
yeah, I'd say definitely to steal Diego and Andy's warm-up techniques. So I'm going to have to go and learn yoga now.
Do some yoga.
Yeah, no, that really inspired me. I'd say it's about techniques. There are techniques which you pick up some things along the way, random techniques. Training will give you that too. I'll give you a story. My brother went for an agent audition in London a few years ago. And when he went into the office, the agent said, and delivered his audition that he'd come up with his own thing, right? The agent said, that was so refreshing. He said, because everyone that comes into my office normally is from these institutions, RADA, somewhere else, some schooling. He says, I can tell you exactly who their tutor was because everybody has learned the same techniques to deliver in the same kind of way. He said, what my brother had done that day really was refreshing to see someone who hadn't had any formal training and yet had managed to get into, quite a few low budget movies at the time. One went straight to DVD in the States. SAS Black Ops or something. It's got a random name. He'll kill me for saying this, but it was so bad that it was actually good. And so, but it had a following, a bit of a following. Anyway, so again, there are ways to learn tips. There are things you can pick up without having formal training, but you do need to have some in order to go further most of the time, unless you know people and are just lucky,
Yeah, my little bit of stuff I did in voice acting was just because of luck. It was I just met somebody, and that it just ended up being a position where I got into some voice acting. They just liked my voice, and which was crazy because they liked my voice, but I never used my regular voice in any of the things that I did. Like,
oh wow,
I was like, oh, we want you to sound like this. Like, okay, that's what you want. It was kind of it was kind of weird, but so here on the show we try to think outside the box a little bit, and we have a segment called What If. So we try to think about a situation of say, like, what if something was different? What something happened different in the Star Wars universe? How would it have changed things? So CJ is going to hit us with this what if question, and then we're going to try to come up with a funny or
try to answer the what if.
Yeah, try to answer the what if. So let's get to that.
It only takes one decision to decide the direction of the galaxy, a decision that will influence the outcome. But if that decision went the other way, reality as we know it would change forever. The galaxy would be on a different course. Things that have happened would cease to exist. a new narrative would be etched into creation. So we are going to analyze those other possibilities when we ask, what if?
Okay, so what do you got for us today, CJ?
What if Darth Vader was able to upgrade his suit? What do you think he'd have?
Oh, like if he could add stuff.
Add stuff for improvement. Like, just think about like what would he have? Like what capabilities would he give himself to be a better Vader?
I'd put like
Does it have to be a better Vader? Because I would have one of
cool.
them tubes that like go, you know, because he got his breathing thing and everything on. I'd have one of them things that just like pumps booze into me all the time, so I could just be drunk.
Like a beer camel pack.
Like one of them head things that, you know, puts the beer into your mouth. Oh,
Bluetooth.
That's what's really under the helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say if he had a Bluetooth, Wi-Fi built in.
That's it.
And,
you want to connect?
And a vape. Yeah. Every time he breathes out, clouds of vape coming out.
That'd be dope. Yeah. Who could be Vader in the
what's
cloud
your Wi-Fi
competition?
password? It's Sith Daddy, right?
Yeah. I'm your daddy. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think practically now. Now that we got the jokes aside, guys.
Practically, I would think if I was Vader, I'd get like lightsabers built into my fingers. Like if it was going to help me be a better person, I'd be like Freddy Krueger with lightsabers on both hands.
That would suck. I feel like you'd accidentally cut something off, Kyle.
I might. Oh, that would suck to go to. But you got to think about it. He's in the suit. He don't pull it out to go to the bathroom. He just goes in the suit and filtrates. You know, he has like a filtration system in there.
Like with NASA.
Yeah.
When they turn the astronauts pee into drinking water or something, right?
it just goes back around, and he just you don't ever have to worry about getting thirsty. He just goes to the bathroom, and when he gets hungry, that's just nasty to think. Oh God,
He cannot smell nice inside that suit.
That's why he sounds like that. He's like, oh God, I gotta smell this all day. What do you think, Garrison? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Max.
Dude. I like the Wi-Fi password. To be honest, I don't think that's a joke. That has some serious applications. No.
Yeah.
Probably just like extra armor.
Invisibility cloak and some rocket shoes.
That's an idea.
Instead of having a jetpack like the Mandalorians, he just got rocket boots on. That would be so hard to be Vader if he could fly. Oh my God, it would suck to be a Jedi. It's already hard enough to beat him. Then he got flying boots.
Yeah. I watched a clip that came up on YouTube the other night of the original actor's voice that they used. It was, I'd not seen that before. That was shocking, really shocking. What a great choice. Imagine if they had have just, they had just gone with that actor. Do you think it just wouldn't have worked?
Yeah,
I imagine
James Earl Jones definitely was better. Glad they went with that voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's so iconic.
It's just so surprising. I mean, even like within Andor, you know, I think just using actual practical effects and props is way better than the CGI stuff that they're doing. You know, it just makes it so much more realistic. And to see, like, just imagine if we had if Darth Vader was all CGI in like all the original movies, it would not have been as good. Like just to see the actual practical effects, the suits and stuff, just made it so much better. It just looks more realistic.
Absolutely agreed.
Sure. I think that's one of the things that makes Andor so great is because of the practical effects. Like I said, like I can't get over it. Like I know Tony Gilroy. And you know, I know that the cast that they picked for the film crew and all that stuff and the practical effect guys, most of these people are phenomenal at their job. But the way that this show looks it's just so good. It just like I said, that's one of my biggest. One of the things that I like the most about it is that everything transitions. Like all the audio is perfect. All all the sets are perfect. The transitions in between scenes are just flawless, and it excites me for where it's going. Like, I'm so excited for season 2 to come out, and season 2 ain't even. But there was 2 years before season 2 comes out, and I'm like, oh my God, we gotta wait 2 years. Oh, that sucks. Jesus, this is so good. Because we just don't get that a lot, with all this CGI stuff, and you don't get them practical transitions. You don't get the old school, like, shooting over somebody's shoulder so you still see them in the shot. Now they just take the person completely out of the scene, so when they're transitioning between dialogue parts, in a lot of the stuff that is being done nowadays, it just seems foreign. But with the way that Tony and them did it, the shots is coming over the shoulder, people are in there, the facial expressions, the body movements is there, and it just makes it so good. Everything about the story, I don't know. Like, and I'm not just saying this because you're on the show. If you go back and listen to the other shows, I've been saying this. It was crazy because when they first announced Andor, I wasn't super excited about it. I wasn't. I was like, Andor, like, well, don't we already know what happens to Andor? It's not really that big of a deal. Why are they making this story? It just didn't seem like it was necessary. And then it comes out, and within the first 3 episodes, I'm like, dude, this is like one of the best Star Wars shows ever made. Right. And it just shows that the hard work and dedication that all of the actors and the film crew and stuff put into making this one of the best Star Wars shows. And I mean, we see it. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes is just the last episode was like a 9.5, episode 10. That was like one of the most exciting things I've seen on TV in so long. It was so inspiring.
Yeah. And to make it too, that episode 10, The Escape. Wow. I mean, we were super excited doing it too. It was just as much fun doing it,
It was so good.
But you're right. Yeah, and I think they really made a fantastic choice with Tony Gilroy, because he did the Bourne Ultimatum, was it? Bourne Identity, the Bourne movies.
Yeah,
right? And you
the
can
Bourne
tell.
Series.
Yeah, you can really tell.
One of the things that I like about it is that his choice not to put a lot of droids and stuff in there to take away from the characters. It's also something that I dislike because I think that it takes away from the Star Wars feel. But at the same time, I like it because it's giving the actors a point. It's really putting all the focus on the acting, and the acting has just been phenomenal in this show. I mean, it's Diego. I mean, just everybody on there has just been so good. It's inspirational. I mean, it's really, it shows that, because sometimes you get to watching some certain stuff and you're like, dude, the film industry is just going to shit. Like, what the hell is going on? And this is really inspiring to see that it can still be done in a way that is just phenomenal.
Complimentary.
I mean, it's so good, and it's nice to see a story. We have a story. Everything is nowadays is being made to just, big CGI effects and all the explosions and all this action and no story. And to get a story that we didn't even really know that we wanted. And then it comes out and it's like, oh my God, like, why didn't somebody do this before? Like, why ain't nobody telling stories like this? It's phenomenal. It makes me proud to be a Star Wars fan again. It really does. It's
the script writing, the story, everything. It's just been, like you said, phenomenal. It is amazing what they've achieved, and I can't wait to see. Even if I'm not a part of it, remember the petition.
Yes,
I can't wait. Even if they ignore my petition, I can't wait to watch second series. It's going to be amazing.
It would just be cool to see you in a cameo, like going into season 2, you're like a shop owner or something, And we're not Andor, like Cassian walks up, weren't you in prison with me? Like, that would just be a moment. Like, it'd be awesome. Be like, yeah.
Because they kind of left it at the end of 10. They kind of left it like only 2 people escaped. Or is that what you guys are trying to say? Because it's only Diego Luna and the other guy running down running across the land. And it's like, okay, where's everybody else at? Did anybody else get away? Like what?
They
So
all
they kind of
drowned.
left you in, like in a state of, like what happened? Like what happened to everybody else? There was so many people jumped off that edge.
Yeah.
And
But
There's at
if
least
you-
a couple hundred people in the water.
Yeah, and if you look closely, when the last guy jumps, you see Andy Serkis. You know, you'll have to pause it, but where there's Andy Serkis and you've got some of the guys jumping off, I'm right to hit on the right-hand side of him, so I'm on his left, and I walk up, and there's a bit of a running joke with me and some of the other guys where, you know, we never left, we're still there, and we just ordered strippers and pizza, you know, with Andy, because I never jumped, and there were a few scenes or a few takes, I should say, where, you know, the idea was that some of us were not going to jump because, like with Kino, we can't swim or it's too far, and we just decide I'm not doing that. And I was one of those guys. So, yeah, there are some. I would say there's definitely room for it because maybe we got off another day in another way.
I was kind of speculating.
Heck
I was
yeah.
kind of speculating on some of the things that could happen because Andor kind of, you know, him and Andy kind of was back and forth at each other at first, and then they kind of worked together, and they were at the last scene that Andor, like after he gets after they get away, he gets the rebellion to go back and like save,
Rescue him or something.
rescue, you know, Andy Serkis. Because I'm like, dude, that would be great if he came back in and he was like in season 2 as, you know, somebody that they got away and they joined the rebellion. I was like, that would be so cool. That would be a good way to tie him back into season 2. Because we're always trying to speculate what's going to happen. You know, that's the fun part of Star Wars. You know, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Is K2SO coming? Is, you know, what's going to happen? And that was kind of something I was thinking about. Like, that would be cool if Andor went back and saved everybody in the prison and got Andy out. That would be. Kino had, you know, just to see him back in season 2. Because that would suck if he's only in these episodes. Like, dude, he plays such a good part to only see him in these 3 episodes and that's it. That's not, like, I would love to see him more.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple of things which it's so clever again how they put this together, but there are a couple of things which only now I look back on and I realize, that's a secret that I've just worked out that surely must be coming along later. Obviously, I'm not going to say anything, but I do. I mean, I know that sucks, right? But it's only just occurred to me because I know that there were some people there that have not come up at all in the version that's out. So they weren't there by accident. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
That means that they must return back in the next. I don't know. I'm just guessing, just speculating. So it's going to be interesting.
Ooh, okay. That's good. That's good. We can figure something out with that.
That's
We
really
can figure
good.
something out.
I'm even more excited now. Like,
Yeah.
did we got any news and rumors for today?
I got a couple things.
All right,
CJ.
So what we do, like we do a news and rumor segment. We kind of go through and do the news and rumors right quick, and then we got the Star Wars Impossible quiz that I do, and I based all the questions. So Max might kill y'all on Andor. All the questions is based on Andor, which was very, very hard because
You
I
had
had
to
to
like
watch
go
all the
through and
episodes again,
rewatch
which
and
was
find
which
questions.
was great for me to watch all the episodes again. But I had to come up with these questions, and it was kind of difficult. So let's go ahead on and then jump over into the news and rumors part, and then we'll go into the Star Wars Impossible quiz. So I'm gonna say the Andor Impossible quiz because it's all about Andor.
It's true.
All 10 questions are about Andor.
All right.
The ultimate news and rumors.
Okay, so I don't have any Hasbro. Nothing's new on Etsy, which I haven't talked about Etsy in a minute.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. I've been
It's been
I've
a
gone
while.
back because I watched the lives at home with the kids and watched their reactions, but I listened to the podcast while I'm at work, and I haven't heard Etsy come out of my mouth in like 10, 15 episodes. I'm kind of
It's been a
mad
while.
at
It's been a while.
myself. Studio
That was our
Ghibli
sponsorship.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. We lost the opportunity because I stopped saying the name. Sorry, guys. Studio Ghibli, hand-drawn Star Wars animations hits Disney Plus today. So all their types of animations that they do, I don't know if you've seen any of their work. They are in talks with Disney on making a few cartoons with them.
Yeah, I seen that.
And they just dropped all the animations ideas on Disney Plus. So you can go through and look at them through a section on Disney Plus.
One of the articles that I seen was saying something that they were doing a Baby Yoda one.
Yep. It is specifically about Grogu. It was a surprise.
And I want everybody to y'all can get that Baby Yoda stuff out of the window, and you got to call him Grogu or the child, because Dave Filoni himself calls him Baby Yoda. So I'm calling him Baby Yoda. I don't care what y'all say no more.
He's so cute. So cute.
Where was that other one? I had one more thing, if I could find it, where it went.
I saw an article.
No, you go ahead. I just found it.
I just
Star
saw an
Wars
article
Resistance.
about
Figure it out. You.
All right, I'll shut up.
Star Wars Resistance EP met with Lucasfilm again the other day. Talk about another animated show. I don't know if that's with Studio Ghibli and they're kind of creating together, or they're giving him his own show. Resistance was the greatest show, so he might be getting something more with Studio Ghibli where he's just like, oh, here's some ideas, and you guys do the rest.
Do you know that Dave Filoni wrote all the episodes of Resistance?
Well, I didn't like the animation style, but
I didn't think they were really good stories, because somebody brought that up. I was kind of arguing on Instagram the other day, which I know I'm not supposed to do that, but
man, you tell me all the time, don't do it, and what are you doing?
And somebody said that, so I went and looked it up, and yeah, Dave Filoni wrote all of the Resistance episodes, and I'm like, wow, that wasn't his best work. Now you kind of made me mad at Dave for they should have never even put that out. That wasn't that good. It wasn't the best of the Star Wars stuff, and it definitely wasn't the best of his writing, because we know he does way better. He wrote all the Clone Wars and Rebels.
What was yours, Garrison, before I have my last one, just in case if it's not the same thing?
Because it was funny because I just saw an article that popped up literally just right now, and Andy Serkis was kind of saying the exact same things that Max was saying about the things we're building, hey, they're actually a kind of big deal, pay attention. And so I was like, oh, dang, okay.
Thank God I didn't say anything.
I'm glad we had that intuition to not pry it out of you or try to get it out of you.
That's I'm gonna say, because I was a little nervous, Carl, about even doing any kind of show until at least the 3 episodes aired, right? So I'm still thinking, my God, I haven't read every single line of my NDA, but I don't think I've said anything that can get me in trouble.
Right.
I've had to sign NDAs
it looks like you said the exact same
so
thing he said.
I've had to sign those NDAs, and they can be really, really tricky. So that's why I was like, don't say anything if you might get in trouble. The last thing you want to do is get, especially like we was talking about earlier, especially with Disney, because they could blacklist you, and then next thing you know, you ain't ever working again. And we don't want to ruin nobody's career that came and helped us out on our show. We definitely don't want that to happen.
Sure. Bailiffs at the door. House resist.
You got Disney knocking at the door. You're in trouble. How did y'all even know I lived there?
It's a guy with a bunch of badges in the shape of Mickey Mouse. Get over here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My last bit of news is J.D. Dillard is no longer making a Star Wars movie. As of Monday.
Yeah, he announced it to, what was it, Dateline?
Yeah, it was on Dateline. And, he just gave up.
Well, no, they scrapped it. They scrapped the project that he was working on. I read several of the different articles that I think comicbooks.com, MSN.com, and another one. It might have been, I can't remember what the other one, but I've read 3 articles, and basically Disney scrapped they either didn't like the idea. He didn't really give any real information on why. They just told him that they wasn't going to use idea, which I think I think Disney is at a point that they're like, we're putting out, we have The Mandalorian, we have Andor, we have, the Book of Boba Fett, Kenobi. We're putting out too many good TV series that we can't fail on the movie part. So I think some of the ideas, they're just kind of basically running through the ideas, and the best ideas is they're narrowing it down to what's going to be the best that they think for the franchise. That was the only news that I had about JD, so you kind of stole my idea there. CJ, but
my bad.
I do have a rumor.
Ooh, I like rumors. They're always
This
fun.
is a rumor, but I guess Favreau and Filoni is going around that they hired Keanu Reeves for a Star Wars trilogy. And this is just a rumor, and I'm not going to state who said the first thing about it. He has been correct on a lot of things, but he has been wrong on a lot of things. So take this
You're talking
with a
about
grain
Zero?
of salt. You wasn't supposed to say it, CJ.
I don't care.
But I guess for the last 2 years they kind of been working on him and that wasn't the only source, but they've been talking to him, and basically the rumor is that he is hired after John Wick 5 is released, which will be several years from now.
You're
Because
talking about the trailer just dropped for John Wick 5. I give it
that's
another
John
year.
Wick 4. That's John Wick 4.
No, that's 5. 4 is already out.
4 is not
I
out.
don't remember seeing 4.
Well, yeah, 4 is not out. There's only 3.
No freaking way. I thought 4 was out.
No, it's only 3 of them, and then John Wick 4 is what they're filming now, and then he's under contract for John Wick 5, and then after that is when they're supposed to be. He's supposed to come do something with Star Wars, which
Whatever it is for. Whatever.
so I guess he's
I lose track of Keanu's work. It's just all so good and blended together that I have no complaints.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely
Revan.
well,
What?
The rumor is that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have went after him. So if they're doing a trilogy, everybody wants him to be to be Revan. So if the rumor is true, that's probably what he's going to be doing. But at this point, it is just a rumor, and like the main person that's kicking this out is not the best reliable source. So take it with a grain of salt. And that's all I have for any news.
If they are going after him, I hope they're pushing hard, because everybody's pushing for him to be Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Well, that was the latest news, and he said something about that. So
he said if he was to come into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he would want to be Ghost Rider.
Yeah,
That'd be the only role he would
I would
take.
trust Keanu Reeves saying that he wants to be Ghost Rider and him coming in as being Ghost Rider than I would over, Mike Zero's saying that he's coming in to do a trilogy for Star Wars. So you guys ready for the quiz?
Yeah, let's get the quiz.
Y'all ready? Y'all ain't ready.
Hey.
I'm not ready. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not ready. I got to do some yoga poses.
Yes.
That's what my doctor said for my MS, that I should do yoga.
Right.
I'm like, really?
I'm not flexible at all.
I'd break something. Yeah, I don't want to try it.
I'm not flexible. All right, let's get to the quiz.
Let's do it.
Okay, we both can't hit the button at the same
Some
time.
button.
That's on you.
Stop right there, you rebel scum. Prepare yourself for the Star Wars Impossible quiz. Blast them.
The damn knee pad. The damn knee pad.
Why you gotta bring up the knee pad? Like, I'm gonna redo that whole thing just to fix the knee pad, so you'll stop complaining about this knee
I'm
pad.
not complaining. It just kills me, man. It makes me laugh.
Okay,
All right, 10
let's
questions.
get ready.
Let's do it.
Okay. In the opening scenes of the first episode of Andor, we see Cassian walking down a walkway. On the right side of the screen, a year pops up. 2 things. What year is it? And what was wrong with the way that they showed the year?
God,
Well, it was backwards. And I couldn't tell you the year.
Is it 25 55. No, I don't even. I've seen it. I've seen it as well.
So
I have no idea.
let's see. Anybody in the chat? Come on, chat.
7 BBY.
Nope.
No, it's
No,
gotta be
because
way
that's
bigger
that's
than that.
they don't go off of that. That's just when they're talking about war.
Well, that's right. They don't go off of that yet. That's right.
That's what the rebellion's doing.
Yeah.
Like after the
like,
war happens, that's how they
you're
date
right.
everything.
Okay. It says BBY. It's
Oh,
5
okay.
BBY, but it says BBY 5. So CJ, you got that part
Oh.
right. They said it
Yes.
backwards. It was
Yes.
backwards. And
Cool,
it's
I get a
5
point.
BBY. Okay. Question number 2. When Cassian leaves Morella 1, he escapes in a WTX 85A transport in order to avoid detection. And what other Star Wars movies have we seen that ship?
Solo.
Nope.
You're
it's in a
kidding.
movie?
Yep.
Is it in Rogue One?
Nope.
I thought it was in Fallen Order.
It probably is.
Yeah,
Questions.
it might be in one of the video games. I don't know.
Force Awakens.
Yes.
Boom!
Really?
Hey, I got two
Very
now.
good.
That's cool. I'm doing pretty good.
So the transport first appears in The Force Awakens and then in Rise of Skywalker.
Huh.
Is the same type of ship and might be the same ship as Ochi's.
Really?
Yeah. The first time we see it is when it's flying away from Enduring Ray's dream.
Oh, I get what you're okay. I get what you're talking about now. That's a good point. They are the same ship.
Yep, it's the exact same ship, and then of course we see it when they're going into it in the Rise of Skywalker.
I wouldn't have thought that until you pointed it out.
Okay, when Marva Andor walks through Cassian's room, there is a brief shot of a stuffed toy. What was that toy?
Oh, it was the Bantha.
Yep,
Thank you.
it was a bantha. It was a stuffed bantha.
Boom. I was just watching that episode again.
There's an identical one that pops up in another movie for an extra point. Who can guess what movie that was? Well, actually, it was a TV show. Let me
Oh, dude, I have
that.
no idea. Mandalorian?
Obi-Wan.
Oh, no.
Dexter.
Boba.
Nope. It's actually in the holiday special, and Chewie's son is holding it.
Oh gosh.
So I didn't figure anybody was gonna
So
get that because the holiday.
before we go to
special
the
was
next
terrible.
question, my little brother messages me. So my cousin passed away last month, and she was a Star Wars fan too, and she had the VHS tapes of the Ewok movies that they had. And he sends me, he's like, "Did you know about these?" I'm like, "Yeah, those are movies you put on so people will leave the party." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Carrie Fisher used to do that. She would put on the holiday special and then sing and dance to it to get people to leave." He's like, he literally is like, "She is fucking legendary." And I'm like, "Yes, she is."
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
In episode 3, we see Cassian and Luthen escaping from Primor officers on a speeder bike. What type of speeder bike was it?
Oh, fuck, dude. Are you kidding me right now? I don't know. Harley Davidson? Fuck.
Ducati.
That
Ducati Scrambler. It was a Ducati.
Ducati.
Panigale.
Yeah. I don't know.
it's one of those electric bikes that
Did you see
that you
everybody
see
riding
Rexon riding around in downtown LA. It's just
Okay.
Bike, but
I would even have took it was the same bike that Luke and Leia were riding on in Return of the Jedi. I would have took that as a correct answer.
wow.
But they're actually called the Z47 speeder bikes. But they are the exact. It was the exact same speeder bike that they were riding in Return of the Jedi. Okay.
that was a cool scene, huh? When that all happened, that first piece of real action, I loved that. That's what got me hooked, seeing the action.
Like the build up to it was just phenomenal. Like one, 2, and 3. The build up to 3 was just like, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna catch him? Who is this guy? You know, it was just so good.
Yeah.
Right before Cassian is arrested by the shore trooper, we get to see two types of droids on the beach. What type of droids did we get to see?
Those Imperial droids, K2SO things. But that's
Yeah,
not what
the
they're
Imperial
called.
Security Droid. That's one of them. What was the other one?
I have no idea. I thought that was it. A probe droid?
Yes, it was a probe
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I'll take
Nice.
it. Total guess. Let's go.
droid. So you get they had the Imperial Security Droid, the K2SOs, and picks them up and whatever, and then you also see the Imperial probe droids flying around.
Let's go.
Okay, now this is something that Max might get right here. It mentions that many of the surfaces in Arcania 5 Imperial prison, including the floor, are made of tungstoid steel, a powerful metal that almost impervious to penetration. What other thing can it withstand?
Oh,
Not water.
yeah.
Apparently.
Lightsabers.
That's a good guess.
That would have been my guess. That was my
Yeah, that
guess.
was a really
Blasters?
good guess. That's what I
that
thought
how
when I first seen it. But it actually can withstand the force.
Oh wow.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you can't use the force on it. So it's
What?
like you can't pick it up with the force and stuff like that.
Whoa. That's
Yeah, I didn't know that. When I first
That's
read that, I
way
was like,
weird.
"What?"
Just imagine having that armor.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
you would be, man. That would suck to be a Jedi, and you
Yeah.
know you're trying to fight this dude that's wearing this. I don't know. From the way it sounds like it's super heavy. Okay, question number 7. It is also revealed that Cassian's adopted father was executed by Imperial agents when Cassian was still young. What was his adopted father's name?
Oh,
Dave.
jeez.
Dave seems about right.
Bob,
remember.
definitely Bob. More of a Bob.
Bob.
Like a Bob. I could go.
Jeez,
Bob
I don't
sounds
know.
good.
What is it?
And you guys are Luthen names Cassian this.
Oh, not Keith. Oh no, that he made that up himself. What
It
is
was
called?
Clem.
Oh, Clem. That's
Okay,
right.
Yeah.
It was Clem. So when they're sitting there talking and they do the flashback is resembling Cassian telling Luthen about his adopted father. And he uses the name Clem, so that's the name that Luthen gives him
Gotcha.
when he's going to Aldani and he meets what's-her-face. What's her name? Ree?
All I know is that she's Mon Mothma's
Whatever.
sister, and that really screwed me up seeing that.
They're cousins.
It's her cousin.
Yeah.
I thought it was her sister because the daughter says Aunt so-and-so's here.
No, they state that it's her cousin. Okay. Now, like I said, we was going to get to some Indiana Jones stuff. Luthen's strange shop of historical trinkets is a home of many hidden Easter eggs in the series. The gallery features a couple of them from Indiana Jones movies. What are these items?
The Crystal Skull.
The temple. It looks like the fifth element. The rune stone. It's like this
Chakra
big.
stones.
Yeah,
Yep, that's
from the
one of
second
them.
one.
Then he's
That's one of them. And then there was another thing.
There's another one?
Yeah, there was another one.
The Holy
The Crystal
Grail.
Skull.
Nope.
Not the Holy Grail?
Skull.
Oh, is it the
No.
is it the cup?
Nope.
the Holy Grail.
That's what I said, CJ.
I don't
Yeah,
think of the
Lenny
Holy
got it.
Grail.
Lenny got it in the chat. The whip.
What?
whip
There
is
was a
frozen.
whip?
Oh wow!
I did not see
His
the
whip's
whip.
there.
Yep, the whip is
Wow.
there, and it's frozen in carbonite.
What? I have to
amazing.
rewatch that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the
That's sick.
fact that they were filming that at the same time in the other studio, like the other building. Right? At the stage.
Yep.
Wow.
That's
So
awesome.
that makes sense why they would just say, "Hey, go grab the whip right quick and grab one of them stones. We need something to some Easter eggs to put in here real quick."
Yeah.
Yep. Lenny got it. Lenny did
Oh,
good.
dude.
Okay.
We're gonna put that shit in carbonite. Hurry up.
Yeah, put it in carbonite and set
Yeah.
it up there. In episode 7, after the attack on Aldani, The Empire quickly tightens its grip across the galaxy, as seen by Centaur on Aldani. What did she see?
It took over the hotel.
She's seeing something to let you know that the Empire was, they were cracking down. What did she see?
I have no idea.
ID checks.
Killing younglings.
Killing
Okay,
younglings.
Anakin, step back for a sec.
I don't know.
Oh, Lenny, you got it in the chat.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Somebody got it in the chat. Did you say?
No, not yet. That's all.
Because I remember this. I remember it happening. I just can't remember what specifically she said. Damn it.
Hey, Chris ain't here today. That's crazy.
He's probably at work.
He's not in the chat.
I think Star Wars team leader was at work.
Star Wars team leader was here earlier.
Propaganda poster, nope. All right, y'all ready?
Well, go. Yeah, go for it.
A Star Destroyer flies overhead.
Oh.
Remember when a big Star Destroyer flies overhead when she's standing there?
Oh, yeah. Well, when she looks up and the shot is...
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a good shot, too.
All right.
That looked real as hell.
Question 10. This should be an easy one. I expect all y'all to get this one. In episode 10, there was a moment of... okay, let me start that again. In episode 10, there was a moment of great confusion for an always so confident Cassian. What was that moment of confusion?
In episode 4?
In episode 10.
That,
in episode 10.
That Andy Serkis's character wasn't going.
Yeah.
Yep.
And falling off.
Oh, right. Well, yeah.
When Kino stopped running it to get away, Andor looks back at him and confused, like, "What are you doing? Why did you stop?" And he says, "I can't swim."
Kino Loy's not dead. He's coming back. I have faith.
Kino
Pizza and strippers and pizza, man.
He got to come back. I just, he was too powerful of a character. I think Lenny said it earlier in the chat. He said to come back to be a general of the rebels.
The one problem with it, Tyler was like, wait, is this the backstory? My brother, he watches it. He's like, is this the backstory for Snoke? Like, that's the same guy.
What if they turned him into Snoke? What if this is where he was at and then he didn't get away and they used genetic manipulation and actually turned him into Snoke?
It's like too much cold porridge.
Yeah.
Cold porridge.
Somebody asked
told him.
Yeah. Somebody asked on Twitter, how come everybody in the show has such fantastic hair? How come their hair's always so good? And again, I would suggest that they've put something special in the porridge, man. That's what it is. It's that prison food.
Like collagen, good for your hair.
Yeah.
Collagen.
Yeah.
They rubbing it in their hair. You guys didn't get no hair care products, so you had to use the porridge in your hair.
You should all shampoo with the porridge.
That was the moose. That was the moose to get them spikes and them waves. You had to use the porridge.
It's the special soap they put in the showers.
I was watching that scene because, like I said, I was going through looking for your scenes in the episodes, and when everybody's standing in the shower, I'm like, people's hair ain't even getting wet.
Yeah.
Like, this got to be the worst shower ever. Like, you're just all standing there, a bunch of naked men are standing there, and just mist is just coming out. Like, dude, this is the most uncomfortable position you could be. It's not even like water falling on you; it's just a mist.
Right.
Like, this is terrible.
I was expecting it to be a lot more powerful, to be honest. And we hung back for a while, so there were a couple of us had some close-ups of our feet with all of the mist coming through and being sucked out as well afterwards. But that wasn't used in the end, which is probably a good thing because you don't want to see some of these guys' toenails, man.
That's true because y'all were all barefoot.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask you earlier. Like, did you guys have any because you guys were all walking around barefoot all this time, in them scenes.
Yeah.
It's like, man, do you ever get any oh man, I hope I don't get athlete's feet or anything. Hope you guys ain't got fungus on their feet. We just all walking around barefoot all this time. How uncomfortable was that to do? Just, walking around barefoot.
It was actually really comfortable because the tungsten steel floor, you know. No, it was really comfortable everywhere that we went. It became comfortable. It became normal. So I think Andy had said this in an interview, and he's right. That again, the set pieces were so awesome, and from day one, the whole time, 6 weeks of having just bare feet, you get so used to it that it became weird to put your shoes on to go back and grab lunch. You know. So even now, I'm barefoot.
That's kind of cool.
It was good. Yeah. I think there was one guy that was complaining about that. One of the guys kept complaining that, you know, he might get athlete's foot or some infection or something.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in Star Wars, bro. Shush.
I would get athlete's feet to be in Star Wars. Call me up and say,
Yeah.
hey, we want you to stick your feet in this athlete's feet gunk. And
Yeah.
you're gonna get athlete's feet. Sign me up. I'm on Star Wars. I don't care what you. I don't care what I got to do.
Exactly.
I'm in Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah, it was cool.
Was that it? Was that the last question?
I got a whole bunch of questions. If we want to get to some more
I thought
questions,
that was it.
I have a whole bunch of more questions. What is one of the things, and this was something I wanted to ask earlier, what is one of the most embarrassing things that you think you had to do on set of Andor?
Shower scene.
Shower scene.
I was 100% up for that shower scene. I was extremely upset when it turned out we had to wear fake underwear. No, you know, things like that. I like a challenge. I enjoy a challenge. So that did not bother me, concern me at all, the shower scene thing. So there wasn't anything embarrassing about it, honestly. Apart from the massive weight gain. The side parting. It's just not for me. Not for me. Yeah.
Got that.
So if I never get, I was just gonna say, if I never get anything else, not good. Not a good look for me, man.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, I think that's it for today's show, man. Thanks, Max, so much for coming on the show and talking to us about Andor and just giving us all the information that you were able to give us.
It's a real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And we hope.
Thank you.
We hope that we get to see you again. I hope, and like we said, man, we'll support you.
My petition, right?
Yeah, is there a way
we'll
for
start
people
the
to like
petition.
follow you on
We'll
social
sign up
media or something?
We'll get a do you have any social media links that you would like to or any way that people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly use Twitter. I've only just recently got back involved with Instagram and Facebook, but Twitter is where you'll find me most of the time, and it's just my name. It's at Max E McCabe. Double C.
Perfect.
So yeah, Max E McCabe on Twitter. And
I'll put his links to his social media in show notes, so you guys can go check out his Twitter and stuff.
Thank you.
And we'll definitely me and you definitely gotta talk, because I don't know if I'm gonna get to watch it today, but I'm definitely going to watch that oh man, why can't I think of the name? Whatever that apocalypse thing. Yeah. It's some apocalypse. I can't remember the first part.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I just remembered the guy's name, the other guy. So it's Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, right? Is that the one?
Randall Carlson.
Carlson. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that myself too.
Here, I'm about to find what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what it's called. Like.
What, the apocalypse one?
Yeah, it's like some apocalypse.
Ancient apocalypse.
Ancient
Right.
apocalypse.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
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 I gotta watch that.
Cool.
It's gonna be good. So I'll definitely hit you up on Instagram and talk to you a little bit about that, because as soon as I get done watching it, I'm gonna want to talk about it, because it's like just listening to those guys talk on Joe Rogan was like, oh man, I gotta learn more about this. This sounds so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I put it this way, just on that note, is if you haven't heard of the Anti-Kythera mechanism, you know, that device that was found at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea back in 1901, I think. It was discovered with a shipwreck at the bottom of the Mediterranean, and this thing goes back a couple of thousand years, and it's been designed with such intricate detail that that device alone has made archaeology have to really reconsider the level of detail and mechanical knowledge that was available to civilizations, a couple of thousand years ago, things which even today we might struggle to do. That this thing is able to track the precession of not just the stars, but all of the moon's, what do you call it now? The kind of wobble, the tilt of the moon over many thousands or hundreds and thousands of years. So you'd be able to literally move back and forward and find where you are, track yourself using the stars and the alignment of the stars, and the absolutely incredible device, right? When they found Göbekli, now I'm going to destroy this, Göbekli Tepe, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
In Turkey. That alone has made them have to rethink everything, because, and along with the Antikythera mechanism. So these guys are really onto something. You've got rain erosion on the Sphinx, which place it way, way, way back, way older than is currently accepted.
Well,
so
also with the Sphinx, they actually believe that the Sphinx was built way before what it's dated because of the water thing, and they think that it used to be a lion that was recarved or redone to look like a pharaoh. So it didn't originally look like.
So it was like a lion, and then they changed it to like.
Then they changed it to the pharaoh, and they can tell by the by carbon dating and the water, how the water runoff on it was, the erosion of water runoff. Like the theories that they have are just like phenomenal, and they make a lot of sense because we know for a fact that they found human skeletal remains that are like 300,000 years old. So if people was here 300,000 years ago, and like the from my little bit of stuff that I've researched just on that, the skeletons they found were more like us. So they had like the same brain capacity, not as much like Lily, that is like 160,000 years old, which they thought was the oldest human remains. Now they found these ones that are like 300,000 years. But she was a lot different. She was a lot smaller and different. The thing that gets me, my biggest conception is we have hunter-gatherers that are living on the planet right now. They have no technology, down in South America and stuff like that. So why do they think there was not like an advance? Why do people think that there wasn't an advanced technology back then, and then there was hunter-gatherers that didn't have that type of technology? That's the thing that really is compelling to me. They're like, oh man, I got to learn more about this. This is so fascinating, and it kind of puts you in a thing that I like. It's not Randall, but the other guy. He said something on Joe Rogan that made a lot of sense. This is our history. Why are we just taking the word of some scientists, that they say this is where it is, and we've been believing this for this whole time. But now all this evidence is coming out, and they still won't back up on their word. They're talking about like people only like 7,000 years old. Like, dude, we got skeletons that are 300,000 years old. We know that that's bull. We know that that's not true.
Yeah, the human race, the history is much richer, much, much richer than I think we can even get our heads around at the moment. And as Graham Hancock would say, we're a civilization that have forgotten our past. I think what they were getting at, around 12,000 years ago, there was some sort of massive, rapid melting of the ice caps, which caused global waters to rise and wiped out. Humans tend to live near the coast, right? So it wiped out a huge portion of the population of the world, changed the whole world very rapidly. So whether that was an asteroid impact, some piece of a comet, something happened around that time that really was apocalyptic, and it happened fast. And you I think he talks about legends of Atlantis and Plato mentioning it in Greece, ancient Greece, and it could be based on, folklore, but still folklore has some fact to it. Where there's smoke, there's fire often. So it's fascinating, man.
The maps that they found with the Black Sea Scrolls and some of the other stuff, the other evidence that they have is just so compelling. It's like, yeah, this makes way more sense than we just popped up 7,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of it's based off of religious preference and instead of scientific fact. It's just the way things have been because religion taught that. And that was the best history that we had. And now with carbon dating and stuff like that, we just have so much more technology to say, hey, well, this stuff is way older than that, And it kind of explains a lot of like the building of the pyramids. How do you get this freaking 700,000 ton rock, 70 feet in the air we can't even barely do that now. And they did it, and they wasn't pushing the shit and picking it up. That's not going to happen. So it just explains a lot of the things that there was ancient humans that were way more advanced than we are now, and that's the way that they were able to do these things. And it also explains the carbon dating of like the pyramids and stuff, because the carbon dating says that they're way older than what we have been told. So I don't know. I can't wait to watch the series. I'm like, I gotta watch this. This is so interesting, and I think it's something that we just need to like we need to know. Like, why are we just stuck in this dogmatic viewpoint of this is the way it is because this is what has always been taught, and we know that that's not the truth at this point. Science has proven that this is not the truth. It's way more than that. Well, I think that's it for the show. Like, once again, Max, thank you so much for coming on and talking to Andor. We would love to have you back to talk more Andor with us.
Excellent. I'd love to. I really, really appreciate it, and it's been fun. It's been great, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So everybody knows, what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Hit the notification button. Give this video a like and let other people know that it was good. Leave us some of those funny comments. We love to hear your comments. And then until next time, remember, stay outrageous and may the force be with you.
Peace.
Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to LSR. If you've enjoyed the show, consider subscribing so you can be notified when new episodes are released. If you would like to be a guest on the show or just want to give us some feedback, feel free to email us. You can also reach out to us on all major social media platforms. Lightsaber Radio is produced by Pickfilm Media and is a Swaycast original, starring Garrison Turcotte, CJ Elliott, and Kyle McDaniel. And don't forget to join us next time for more adventures in a galaxy far, far away.